Kick.
He did things on purpose to hurt her because he wasn't the star.
Bobby Brown is behind bars today.
Accused of hitting his wife,
totaling a Porsche on Ocean Drive in Hollywood.
Bobby Brown may have committed misdemeanor sexual Singer Bobby Brown insists he would not hurt anyone.
After paying more than $63,000 in back child support.
Just another chapter that earned Brown the nickname Bad Boy Bobby.
This isn't fair. This ain't fair, man.
Bobby's bad boy image was becoming all too real, with an ever-expanding rap sheet that included several court appearances and even 2 spells in jail. He was seemingly out of control.
he had urinated all in the backseat of the deputy's patrol car, urinated all over the cage, urinated on the seat itself, urinated underneath the passenger floorboard.
Keeping the headline writers busy on tabloids around the world, and in particular at the National Enquirer.
And they had an argument, and Bobby ended up grabbing her by the throat and choking her.
He's never hit me, no. I've hit him in anger.
Fortunately for Whitney, she was able to get a hold of a large glass ashtray and smashed him on the head. That broke his grip. She got away. He went to the hospital with a bloody head.
I think marriage is turbulent, you know, we're just in the public eye.
They have a very volatile relationship. It's very physical, but it's also very emotional.
He's got a reputation for being a bad boy, naughty.
And he can be.
Is he behaving himself?
He's behaved himself. He's actually always behaved himself. Listen, if they caught him with somebody, I haven't, so maybe they know something I don't know. You know, and if I wanted to know, I would definitely find out, because I'm that kind of girl.
How would you find out?
Oh, baby, there are ways. There are ways, and I know them. I'm from Newark. I know.
When did you know that that marriage was not going to work?
I just knew, I was like, you don't smell right, you don't look right, something's going on. And then all this other stuff started coming out about him being with this one or that one, or being too promiscuous.
Did that hurt you?
Dragging dirt into my home.
Did that hurt you? Were you offended by it?
It disturbed me.
It disturbed you?
I was disturbed.
Did you believe it?
Yeah, because I checked. I checked. I didn't look for it, but I checked.
You checked. So the fact that he would be out with other women and would bring that into your home?
Yeah, with my credit card, absolutely.
Yeah,
I had a problem with that.
yes.
Yeah.
You and Bobby Brown, the two of you seemed like you were close at one point. And then there was that incident where he was on your couch.
And Bobby Brown is asleep on my sofa. You don't believe me, huh? Okay, come with me, but be very, very quiet.
Story around that.
Bob had been living with me for a while. One night, there's a knock at the door, and the doorbell's ringing. And I'm like, who's at my door? You have to jump my gate to get to my door. Who's at my door? Bob. Drunk, high, belligerent Bob. Bob, get in the house. Right. What are you doing? He proceeds to try to have sex with me. And he's like grabbing and kissing, and he reeks of tequila, and it's just gross. And I started running these things through my head, and I got angrier and angrier, and I was like, okay. So now it's time for me to shit on you. I had to get my own server because of that video.
But despite Bobby's many scrapes with the law and reports of multiple infidelities, Whitney remained beyond steadfast in her support for him.
Whitney Houston giving husband Bobby Brown a kiss of support.
I had met Whitney in person. We have spoken on the phone. We had spoken.
guys spoke on the phone?
Yeah.
Okay. How did that conversation go?
They were very short, a lot of niceties. I would call, when they lived in Atlanta, I'd call their home to speak to him.
Okay.
Yeah.
That must have been an interesting call.
The first time it happened, I called the house, and Whitney Houston answered the phone. Like, hi, this is Corinne. Is Bob there? And she said, oh, hey, sweetie. Yeah, hold on a second. How are you? I was like, I'm great. And then she's like, hold on. Bobby! You know, and then...
She actually put you on the phone with Bob?
And she put me on the phone with him. And we talked at the hotel one time. He was in town. I called the hotel. Did not know she was there. I don't know why I wouldn't assume his wife would be there. I don't know. But he would just say things like, call me at the hotel. So when you say that, I'm not thinking... I'm thinking, okay, fine. Call you at the hotel. Whitney answers the phone.
I remember being in Europe and sitting with her and looking at a European newspaper, and then Bobby's being arrested for sexual harassment back in California, and she's begging him to come on tour. She's begging him to come be with her, and it's like, and I look at her and I go, what are you doing?
Hey, it's Corinne again. Bob said to call him. Yeah, hold on. Like, it was always hold on. And then I would always get him on the phone.
And then he went to jail for 65 days for a DUI where he was driving intoxicated. And who can forget this very famous picture where he comes out of jail. She jumps out of her limo. She runs into her arms, throws her arms and legs around him. So excited to have him home. Most of us, if their husband had been in jail for 65 days for driving while intoxicated, would of course be happy to see them, but wouldn't treat it like it was a party.
Excuse us. Bye. Whitney, anything you'd like to say to the people at home? Nothing. Happy to have your husband back, ma'am? Have a good night.
So were you always appearing and making those court appearances because you felt you had to stand by your man?
I'm his wife.
Do you enjoy being together on the set as opposed to being apart doing other things? Is something that's good for you guys?
Nope.
No, we do. We do. We work well together. We complement each other, I think, He brings out the best in me, does.
Between the press and everybody saying that it's not going to last, it was constantly biting at her.
But she didn't want to be like her mother, a divorcee. She was going to prove that she could do it.
I was like, why are you putting up with that? But what I now get is that you took those vows seriously.
Very. Oprah, to my heart.
I think she might have believed she was in love with Bobby, but I really think it was more of a codependent relationship. To the point where Bobby Christina was even left out.
I was so weak to him. I was so weak to the love. I was so weak to is this love? What is this? What am I into?
Were you weak to him or were you weak to the drug?
He was my drug. I didn't do anything without him. I wasn't getting high by myself. It was me and him together. We were partners. And that's what my high was, him. He and I being together, and whatever we did it together, no matter what.
Because you were his wife.
Yes, and he was my husband. I'm gonna make this happen. We're gonna make this work,
Whitney had with Bobby, and what goes on in a lot of relationships where both parts of the couple are addicts, is that there's a codependency going on. It's a poor way to be. It's never going to be a healthy relationship when they're codependent.
We fought hard. We loved hard.
Codependency for beginners. Psychobabble.
Huh?
The word means so many different things to different people that it really means nothing at all.
But everybody knows about codependent relationships.
Do they?
Yes, it means that you get totally meshed with someone else.
Oh, that's what it means.
I thought you knew. You're the counselor.
Well, maybe I'm codependent because my wife is the center of my world.
No, it means that you don't know where you were emotionally.
Why not?
Probably because you were abused or abandoned in childhood.
Then what?
Then you grew up to become an addict.
Oh, yes?
Yes. So all you have to do in order to make sure that you break the chain of multi-generational shame is to treat your children with love and kindness.
Ah, so that's it. Love is all you need. The Beatles were right.
Yes, what's wrong with that?
Nothing. Love is wonderful. But it doesn't work in preventing addiction any more than it would prevent appendicitis.
That's very cynical.
No, it isn't. It's the truth in contrast to psychobabble.
What codependency means is that you were brought up in an addictive family, and that made you codependent, so that you then became an addict yourself.
So we're all prisoners of our childhoods.
No, that's the whole point. We learn how to become less codependent by rejecting all the abuse and abandonment that we suffered. Then we can love and be loved. And we can love and nurture our children so that they don't become codependent and become addicts.
So it's all the fault of parents?
No, you see, they were codependent themselves because of the abuse and abandonment that they suffered from their parents. And the grandparents may have been codependent because of what they got from their parents. So it's nobody's fault, really. It's just the way it is. But we can put a stop to it now so that the next generation doesn't become codependent. And then they won't grow up to become addicts.
Yes, I see. Actually, I saw it 30 years ago when I first heard these ideas. And the next generation grew up to be addicts just the same.
Well, you can be codependent if you form a relationship with an addict. That's the effect of living with an addict can have on you.
So we all finish up codependent in one way or another?
No, as I said, we can break the chain.
How?
By learning not to be codependent. We learn to speak our truth and be assertive of our needs. We don't blame our parents or partners. It's not their fault that they were addicts of one kind or another. Because behind that, they were codependent.
Ah, I understand. We're not to blame for anything if we admit that we're codependent and then stop abusing and abandoning other people.
That's right. And we learn not to make codependent relationships.
How?
By not being codependent, it's obvious.
Not to me, it isn't. It seems to me that codependency means anything that people want it to mean, so that they can avoid taking responsibility for their own behavior.
Not at all. We have to accept our codependency before we can be healed of it, one day at a time.
So it's just like any other addiction in that respect?
Well, not really. It's not our fault, see?
I don't see any addiction as being the fault of the sufferer. I think it's probably genetically inherited.
But that's terrible. That would mean that there's nothing we can do about it.
Not at all. We're not responsible for being addicts, but we can work the 12-step program each day in order to put it into remission.
Well, we work the 12-step program in CODA, Codependence Anonymous.
What does that achieve?
We stop being codependent.
And make beautiful, loving relationships and have children who are free from abuse and abandonment, so that they don't grow up to be addicts. I have to say that this isn't what I've observed over the last 30 years.
So what have you seen?
The children who come from addictive families often become addicts themselves, despite being much loved.
And what else?
That making happy and mutually fulfilling relationships is hard work. We don't get them simply as a result of wishful thinking.
That's very severe.
I'm in a severe business. As a counsellor, I see disastrous relationships every day.
What's the solution?
Examining our own behavior rather than the other person's. Blaming other people, such as parents or teachers or partners, doesn't help. Dishing out blame, however much we disguise it, is unprincipled and pathetic. The only person I can ever change is myself, and that's what I need to do.